duty.
The views expressed on this program do not necessarily represent those of Revive FM or its management.
Good afternoon and welcome. You're listening to Vakas Hussain, who's hosting the Drive Time show this afternoon on the 5th of December. This is another special edition of one of our Drive Time Hustings show, the 7th one that we have now undertook here at Revive FM. This being the penultimate one, with the tomorrow being our last and final hustings. That will be an external hustings tomorrow that we will be broadcasting live on the 94.0 frequency, and in addition on our live through our stream on our Facebook and YouTube channels. And the constituency in which we're going to be in tomorrow evening is Chingford and Wood Green. It's an interesting constituency which has attracted quite a lot of national prominence given who the sitting MP is. So it's a live hustings with all three candidates confirmed. The incumbent Member of Parliament, until Parliament was dissolved, was the former Conservative leader and Cabinet Secretary Ian Duncan Smith for the Conservatives. His contenders are Faiza Shaheen of the Labour Party and Jeff Seif of the Liberal Democrats. That's being brought to you live tomorrow at 7:30 from Heathcote School and Science College, number 96 Normanton Park, London, E46ES. If you wish to join that hustings live and be part of the audience, then go on to our Facebook page or our website www.revivefm.co.uk and follow the link to the Eventbrite page and register there online. But that's tomorrow. Coming back to this evening, we have another edition of our in-studio hustings. Today we have two candidates from the West Ham constituency. It gives me great pleasure to introduce, first of all, Humera Kamran from the Communities United, and secondly we have Sara Kumar from the Conservative Party. Hi to both of you. Hi. Welcome to the studio, and we're delighted to have you here this afternoon. We've been through the format, and without further ado, let's go into the swing of things. So first of all, I'm going to give both of you 2 minutes to do your opening pitch for why the people of West Ham should elect you as the next parliamentary representative, Member of Parliament for West Ham. First, I'm going to start with you, Sara.
Okay, great. Well, I'll start off by giving you a little bit of history about myself. I was born and raised in London by two immigrant parents. And, you know, I've been involved in local politics and charity work for many, many years now. My passion is to help a lot of young people, the homeless and those less fortunate than myself, as well as protecting the elderly and people that are marginalised in our society, you know, war veterans, people with mental health issues, etc. The reason why I think I'd be a great MP for West Ham is because I will champion local issues such as ensuring that we have more affordable housing in West Ham. I think that's something very important for individuals and young families. I also want to improve the transport links, the DLR and bus routes, as I know that's a massive issue in West Ham, and I think that would put a lot of ease on the residents of West Ham as well. Lastly, I want to focus on violent crime and reducing violent crime within this constituency. I think it's a massive issue that's been raised by residents, and I want to be that local champion that is able to voice these issues in Parliament with great determination and commitment. And I know that the residents of West Ham can most definitely rely on me to represent them on the green benches.
Thank you, Sara. Quite a lot to unpick there, and some of those will be coming back in more detail.
Sure.
And we'll unravel some of that. Now over to you, Humera, on behalf of the Communities United Party.
Yes, please. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hi, everyone. Here I introduce myself. My name is Humera Kamran, and I am living Newham Borough for the last 20 years. And I work as a makeup artist. and I'm very passionate about the politics because my husband, Kamran Malik, he is the founder of Community United Party, which established 10 years back, and he providing his services to its local community through the platform Community United Party. I seen that many people, they are struggling in their daily life or the small job they need to be done. They don't know what to do. They don't have any guidance. Then I see, then Community United Party leader, he is dealing with them. And the second thing is which is urged me to come in a politics, that I've seen that through the passage of time, minor ethnic imposing their norm and values upon us, and then we people follow it without any objection, and which is totally conflict with our principle and our value. And the second thing is that why I'm standing it, that because this is a fact and figure, and also you will be agree with me that Newham borough is the most deprived borough. There is a plenty of issues need to be addressed, and then as all the other parties, they have the same agenda, I have the same one, but which I'm focused so much about the drug and alcohol and knife crime, and the most very important thing is that education is being taught in a primary school at the age of 4 about LGBT and RSE. So that is because I am a mother of 4 children. I know that what the children they think about it, and then this issue is very close to me, close to my heart, and I want to spread the awareness to my community that we have these issues, and most of the people, they are very, very upset of the different ethnic groups, religion, race, all of them. Then I discuss them, but they don't have the audacity to raise it. So I'm presenting them. And I want to assure them, if they're going to select me, definitely I resolve their problems. I become their voice and take this issue to the parliament, inshallah.
Okay, thank you very much, Humera. Thank you for your opening statement. Now we're going to move on to some open questions. I appreciate they're quite generic, but if you want to bring them back, as I assume you will, to your local constituency, the rationale behind it is that we keep it fair for all candidates, so they've all got an equal opportunity to answer the same sort of question. These are questions that have been submitted by our listeners beforehand, and we think are a fair representation of the key issues facing the British public at this general election. And the first one that I'm going to come to, with no surprise, it's the B word, Brexit. The Brexit election, is it not? What, I don't know. You tell me. But in terms of Brexit, both of you, what is the solution? And if you're elected by the good people of West Ham, how will you resolve the impasse that we've had in Parliament for the last 3.5 years? I'll start with you, Sara.
Okay. This election, it's a choice between driving real change for our community and our country, or more of the same old politicians arguing and going back and forth. It's that simple. The things that we should focus on post-Brexit, which will happen in January 2020 once Boris is elected, we're going to focus on things like infrastructure, transport, improving local high streets, technology, and using education as the engines to turbocharge our economy. These are the things that should really be taking up our time, and we should be discussing so much more than dithering and delaying and arguing for all these years. I mean, it's ridiculous. And, our New Deal that Boris Johnson has secured is excellent. I mean, we'll have the end of the EU Court of Jurisdiction, which means that we can have control of our courts and enforce our own laws. I think that's so important that we sort of get our country back. And also, the Australian immigration points system, again, it's encouraging sort of more skilled workers to enter the UK from around the world, as well as keeping criminals out. That's one thing that we understand will sort of benefit from the Australian style point system. And again, leaving the customs union, which will strengthen our union as well. These are just some things that are benefits of leaving the EU and are part of our new Brexit deal.
Thank you for your opening. You will have an opportunity to go more into detail. Humera, same over to you. Your position, if you're elected, what will you do in terms of Brexit for your constituents? What will your position be?
First of all, I'm going to be explain to the audience that when we joined the European Union in 1873, that time we needed that time because we had a mutual interest for the trading and business, and because after the two world wars we lost many lives, and then they don't want to be prevent it not the war happen again at that time, and it's been half century now, around about 50 years, and they went very good and pleasantly they go through. But I don't know, suddenly the David Cameron, they held the referendum, and the referendum is just like 52% of the people are in a favor, because this is a very complicated situation and pictures, and the people, even politicians, they are failed to address this issue, and the other people, and they spent 3.5 billion pound just in the process of the Brexit. But I think that instead of we involving in Brexit issues need to be sorted out, and Labour Party now they're saying they're going to be held another Brexit, other referendum, and through that all of them they are confused. Every day we are listening about the Brexit, and really seriously I'm really fed up. But as far if you see that my personal opinion is that because when we had a treaty with the European Union, so and the pleasantly we go through, but after the referendum, when the Theresa May they implemented the Brexit matter, then loss of chaos is occurred. That this is damage our financially and political side. Yeah, so it's bring a big chaos in it. So. Okay. Yeah, they damage it actually. Instead of the bringing the community come together, they divided it. There is a loss of damages. According to me, everything has a pros and cons. But if we stray, okay, it seems like according to me this is equal. Either we come out. I think if you leave the Brexit, the consequences is bad. If we stay, then I think it's much pretty sure that is still is a bad, but it will be bad. I mean, you get it what I mean, just like okay, con and con is equal.
So if you were if you were on the 13th next Friday the Member of Parliament for West Ham, and the Brexit deal in whatever shape or form came back before the Houses of Commons, would you vote in favour of Boris's deal or would you vote against it?
No, I would in a favour of the Brexit.
You would vote in favour? A surprise, Sara, or what do you make of Humera's position on this?
Well, I'm quite glad, because I think the more support from other political parties that we get, bearing in mind that other parties are vehemently against Brexit, I think that more parties that are sort of much smaller, getting their support on is excellent, because we need to get Brexit done. It's as simple as that. And it would be in the best interests of the country to have parties like yours.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah, you're right. But if you see in a vast vision that Scotland and Wales and Ireland, they want to be remain in Brexit. Yeah, and just only UK they don't want it. Even in the UK, still there is a disagreement among the MP. You get it?
Well, you're right. So, Northern Ireland and Scotland overwhelmingly voted to remain, but Wales actually, along with England, voted to leave. The majority of people wanted to leave in Wales. But your point is valid. Just coming back to you, get Brexit done. That's the slogan that Boris has, repeated many times. Sometimes to the frustration of the live TV audiences. But it's a fallacy that if Boris gets a majority and his withdrawal agreement is voted through and becomes law, that Brexit is done on the 31st of January or before, because that's just the withdrawal agreement. We've got years of trade and treaty negotiations in order to get a free trade agreement, the Canada-style deal that Boris wants. So it's not getting Brexit done, it's just getting one stage of Brexit done. Isn't that more accurate?
Well, actually, getting that withdrawal deal through is the most important part of the Brexit deal as a whole. And I think that we could get it done much quickly than the other leading party, which is the Labour Party. that's the reason why we've put January 2020 as the sort of deadline of getting that withdrawal agreement through. That is the start of the process.
Well, no, the withdrawal agreement would have to get through by January 2020.
Yeah,
but the deadline of December 2020 is the transition period for you to negotiate the free trade agreement that you want.
Sure.
I think the question on many people's minds is that if you can't agree a free trade deal within the 11 or so months you'll have after having formally left the European Union, given that many other countries like Canada spent 8 years, Japan 7 years, will we be leaving with a no-deal WTO terms a trading arrangement with Europe on the 31st of December 2020? Is that the position that the Conservative Party are taking, if you can't negotiate a deal within 11 months?
Well, I have every faith in Boris Johnson as a Prime Minister to be able to deliver a deal. I couldn't say that, by the 31st of December that we don't have an agreement where we haven't stuck to our word. I mean, our party manifesto, we all sort of drive the importance of leaving the EU with a deal. And I have every faith in Boris, as I said, that he will deliver that. That's what we have promised, and we must stick to the mandate, the political mandate of the 51% of people that voted for a leave deal.
Humera, there's agreement between the two of you that we need to get Brexit done, and you would vote for in favour of the deal if you were elected. Isn't there a good argument to be made by people who are opposed to leaving the European Union to say that, well, the original referendum was a simple choice of whether we wish to remain or leave. Now that we know what kind of leave that we're going to get with Boris Johnson, that it's better that the public finally rubber stamp whether we actually leave or remain or leave on the terms that Boris is saying. Don't you think that there's a strong argument, given how tight the initial victory was, to have a referendum, a second referendum, as some parties advocate?
Actually, when the second referendum will be taking place, I'm pretty sure still it will be a chaos, yeah, and still they don't decide it. Maybe they're going to be say the third referendum will be taking place. But what I'm deeply thinking, this is my personal opinion, because how thoroughly I studied it, I've seen that, because it's been 15 years, round about 50, round about half century it's been. We are member of the European Parliament, European Union, and the people are, they're trading and businessing, they're doing mutually, they have a mutual interest in it. And then the agreement has a branches that is spread far away. If we try to pull up, yeah, and then it's going to be effect on the European country peoples, and we also. I feel like just like pro and con are similar, and it's better if you stay it. If you leave it, I feel that the consequences is more bad.
Okay.
And also because that this is a very complex topic, and the pictures never ever get cleared. And according to me, I seen that no, I think we're supposed to. Even I agree that disadvantage is a lot, though, but advantage is a lot.
Okay.
Disadvantages are less.
Advantages are more.
Yeah.
What are some of the advantages of leaving the European Union? What's going to be the advantages?
Okay, so we're looking at, as I said before, if we're looking at more sort of things that affect people personally, right? The national living wage will increase by £10.50. Right now, there is no minimum requirement by the EU. Secondly, sick pay, again, no minimum required under the EU. We will ensure that 28 weeks sick pay.
But none of this is in the withdrawal agreement, is it? The legally binding aspect of the withdrawal agreement, any of these commitments to keeping workers' rights, employment rights, they're not in the withdrawal agreement, are they?
Well, I think it's about once we get the withdrawal agreement passed, then these are the implementations that we are going to see come to fruition. I'm giving you the benefits of once we leave the EU, this is what happens.
But I have to pull you up there, because some of our listeners will be thinking that you're quite right, and you're
Yeah.
quite kind of, these aren't constraints put on us by the European Union.
Sure.
You've been in power since 2010. You could have implemented, because there's no minimum or maximum rate, you could have implemented these at any point in the last 9 to 10 years. For whatever reason, you haven't. So you can't now, just because you're now promising to do those, you can't now say that, well, that's an advantage of now leaving the European Union. That's just a happy coincidence, is it not?
Well, there's things like maternity leave and annual leave, which there were minimum requirements given by the EU, and we're actually increasing that. So there are some benefits to us. You know, once we leave the EU, these are some of the things that we are able to implement that are much better than the EU minimum requirements.
Okay. Do you agree with what Sara's saying in respect of the advantages? And you mentioned that there are advantages. What would some of those advantages be?
Actually, you know, I don't know that much, because how the way our politicians, they can't decide it, they can't see it. Our analyst, journalist, newscaster, everyone, every day we're listening on the TV. How can I say that? Even I'm newly entered it, you get it what I mean. And also, if they can't see the clear picture, how can I say that? So anyway, but in a short, in a brief, in a few words, I will say that I feel that we're supposed to stay in a Brexit.
Okay. Last question before we move on the topic. Again, it's a similar question that I asked Humera.
And also I get fed up about to listening
Well,
to the Brexit,
I
all the time, every day on the TV. Even okay, anyway.
I think Sarah will probably be in agreement that the people are, and I suspect much of our listeners are, sick to their back teeth about talking about Brexit. But I think Humera has hit on something there where she says even our politicians, our journalists, our newscasters, pundits, they don't really understand the nuance.
See the clear picture.
So the intricate workings of the European Union. I mean, it's quite a complex political and economic and social institution that's developed over 40, 50 years. Given that, I suspect it's fair to say, it's certainly true of me, that we are all now better informed about how the European Union works 3.5 years, almost 4 years down the line, that a good and fair resolution, some may say, to bring this to an end would be going back to the people, as I said earlier to Humera, and getting them to either sign off on Boris's agreement or to say that actually, in hindsight, we wish to remain. Isn't that a fairer way of doing things?
So is what you're saying, we should have a second referendum?
Well, I'm not saying, I'm just putting that out there.
Plain words.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that sounds like you're saying we should have a second referendum. And my answer is no. I completely understand that people's minds have shifted over the last couple of years. People have educated themselves on the European Union and how it affects us as a country. I completely understand that. However, we are undermining the power of democracy by offering a second referendum. You know, democracy is all about keeping to the vote that the people have made. Unfortunately, for people who still want to remain because of, you know, their self-education over the last couple of years, they may think, you know, damn it, I wish we could have one. But we live in a democratic society, and we have to respect the mandate of that 51% of people who decided they want to leave.
I think round about not 50, around about 52%.
Yeah, 50.
I said 51%.
Is it less than 50?
Yeah, well,
we're giving rough figures. I said 51%.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was 52, remain 48. So yeah, I mean, a bit more generous in your favour. In fact, if anything,
it is go in favour you. If it's a 50, but I know because 52 is go against me. But but personally, I told you this is a personally. I can't see the proper picture, because if they can't see it, how can I see it? But this is my personal opinion, as if it's supposed to be stayed.
Do I take it from that your original position was that you want to remain in the European Union, but you've accepted the result?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, you've managed. I mean, I think Humera is on the same wavelength. I think that where you talk about people respecting democracy, respecting the will of the people, as you say, that given that she was a proponent of remaining, she accepts and she's given losers' consent. I mean, is that what you're effectively trying to reach out to the people and say this is the position people should be taking?
I'm so sympathetic to those who want to remain and sort of their frustrations on thinking, gosh, Brexit's coming along, and we feel that there are so many more people now, 3.5 years later, that do want to remain. And I know there are many, many sort of public figures that are also standing up for those who voted to remain and saying, well, actually, they were right. And so many people that voted leave maybe want to revert to the decision of wanting to remain. But I have to say, as much as I am sympathetic to people who want to have a second referendum, as I said, I have to repeat it again, we have to deliver the mandate of the people, and it would be completely undermining the power of democracy to go any other way. And we have to think of it that way. If we look at other votes, let me say something really simple. If we voted to, I don't know, make a bottle of water £5 or make a bottle of water £1, right? There are pros and cons of that. God knows what that could be. It's just a random example to give you. Now say, it was the law that you had to take one side or the other, and the side that had over 50% were to win. If it was something as sort of simple as bottled water, people wouldn't have such a sort of strong force of opinion to say, right, we've decided that, we do you see what I'm saying?
I follow you.
I'm trying to give you a more simple, something that's much more simple than leaving the EU. So what I'm trying to say is, we cannot think that because it's such a big deal and because we know so much more about leaving the EU, that suddenly we want to revert back and forget about democracy and forget about democratic votes. That means then that in the future, if we want to think about more serious decisions, it means that vote could also potentially change. And that's very frightening, actually.
Sure. Well, that's almost the first half hour up. That absolutely flew by. What we're going to do is, before we move on to the next question, I'm going to take a quick break, slightly about a minute earlier than we would ordinarily, and we'll come back and we'll move on to our next topic, moving on into sort of more domestic issues in terms of public services and so on and so forth. So listeners, you're listening to a live discussion between Humera Kamran of the Communities United Party and Sara Kumar, the Conservative candidate, both for the West Ham constituency. Keep listening. We'll be back after this short break. Thank you.
MR Accountants provide a full range of accountancy and taxation services, including annual and management accounts, self-assessment, tax returns, VAT, bookkeeping and payroll services to all different types of businesses. With our in-house chartered accountants, you can be guaranteed to save money. Contact us now on 0203 432 9138.
If you're looking for a unique bespoke cake made especially for your big day, then look no further. Here at Sugar Sprinkle Cakery, we design some of the most imaginative and delicious home-baked cakes for your special occasions. We do fresh cream, buttercream, eggless and vegan cakes. Check us out on Instagram or Facebook at Sugar Sprinkle Cakery, or just call 07932 665 833. That's 07932 665 833.
This is Aisha. Her father died in an accident at a very young age. She lives with her mother and siblings. There are millions like Aisha who do not have access to the very basics of life, resulting in her and many others not being able to attend school. Through Minhaj Welfare Foundation, your charity is dedicated towards supporting the full needs of orphans and needy children around the world. Donate today. Call us now, 0300 30 30 777, or visit us on minhajwelfare.org.
Have you heard of the new dessert place opening in Ilford, East London? All my friends are talking about it.
No way, what's so special about it?
I heard they'll be doing East London's very first nitrogen ice cream desserts, and we'll have hundreds of flavours to choose from. They'll even do the new trending dragon breath. I'm so excited.
That sounds nitro-licious. I just can't wait.
Yeah, you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated with their opening schedule. That's Nitro Treats.
When it comes to business law, you need to go to expert barristers. Tahir Ashraf heads our award-winning barristers for business immigration, business contracts, partnership disputes, lease and property disputes, bankruptcy and intellectual property matters. Call us on 0207 406 1455. That's 0207 406 1455 or visit us at 5 Chancery Lane, London. Be wise, get expert advice.
Revive FM
94.0. On the radio.
on your mobile.
And online.
Hello and welcome back. You're listening to Vakas Hussain on Revive FM 94.0 with our 8th live edition of a Hustings in the studio. Today we have the constituency of West Ham. We have 2 candidates here, both one representing the Conservatives, Sara Kumar, and Humera Kamran from the Communities United Party. I should add at this stage that all the candidates standing in West Ham were sent an invite to come along and put forward their manifestos, their pledges, and to promote their parties in order to be elected. Unfortunately, due to diary clashes, not all of the other candidates could attend, and we decided that we would go ahead with the 2 that did confirm, because it would be unfair for these 2 candidates to have taken time out of their busy schedules to give us time for us to then cancel on them at the last minute. So I hope you're enjoying this discussion and you're being better informed, because that's the reason we're holding these hustings, is that you as constituents, as members of the general public who have an opportunity to cast your vote next Thursday at the ballot box, are able to make an informed decision. And by listening to the candidates and hearing it from, pardon the vernacular, from the horse's mouth, so to speak, you will be in a far better place to make that political judgment however you wish to exercise it. Now, ladies, I want to move on to our next question. It's been quite an interesting question that we've had on the show, and it's a question that that we've had repeatedly sent in to us, and it's about bigotry, it's about racism, it's about as political parties, as political elected representatives, what will you do to ensure that people from black and Asian minority ethnic communities feel safe, feel valued, and are welcomed in our society? Because we've had with the Labour Party an anti-Semitism crisis engulfed the party to the extent that the chief rabbi of all people had to intervene. And Sara, with you, we've had similar allegations in respect of Islamophobia and general general racism. So over to you first to do your initial response. How, as a member of the, if elected as a member of the Conservative Party, will you ensure that your party roots out all forms of discrimination and racism wherever you find it?
Firstly, I think that we should always, and we have always, condemned racism. Another thing is that we need to raise awareness. It's as simple as that. Any issue that sort of affects people, such as racism or discrimination against mental health, I'll go into that more when I'm able to speak after the initial opening. But it's all about raising awareness and encouraging communities to come together. I've done it in the past in West London, and I'd be able to do it again in West Ham.
Humera, what would you do if you're the Member of Parliament for West Ham? How would you bring communities together, and what does your party's position in terms of respecting rights of minorities, whether it's black, Asian, white, straight or gay, whatever they may be? What are your policies and safeguards for minority communities, whatever they are, whomsoever they ever are?
We very well know about that. This is a democratic country, so everybody has a right. We don't need to be criticized, interrupt their religion, their race, or we need to go together. We consider just like either one community, regardless who, is which agenda, which race, which group, which background is. We need to be treated equally and fairly, and we respect their religion and respect their background. So we don't need to be unjust. We need to be treated just like a humanity. All of we are a human being.
Okay, Sara, I mentioned what the Chief Rabbi said about the Labour Party, and what the Chief Rabbi said was he urged British people to vote with their conscience, because he felt like that if you were exercising your conscious decision, you wouldn't be able to vote for the Labour Party, because he felt the party hadn't dealt with anti-Semitism. And on the back of that, we had a statement from the Muslim Council of Britain, which is the largest Muslim umbrella organisation, which supported the comments of the Chief Rabbi, but also said in respect of your party, the Conservatives, that when it comes to Islamophobia, that there is denial, dismissal and deceit in terms of tackling that particular form of bigotry. Do you agree or disagree with what the Muslim Council of Britain have said?
My mother is Muslim, so I know very much about how people in the party know that my mother is Muslim, which makes me half. Just for information, my dad is Hindu and Indian. So I know for a fact that the Conservative Party are dealing and addressing with Islamophobia, and understand that this is an issue, I wouldn't say within the party, but this is something that we should always tackle. Should it be something we should face?
It's not an issue within the party. Is that
well, I'm saying as me being, I can't say as a Muslim because...
No, I'm not saying as a Muslim, but
yeah.
Are you saying that Islamophobia isn't an issue in the party? Is that what you're saying?
It's an accusation within the party. I know that if there are cases, I'm unaware of any cases personally as myself as a member of the Conservative Party, but I know that there have been accusations of Islamophobia in the party, and I know that our Prime Minister has promised to deal with Islamophobia within the Conservative Party and to put in investigations to make sure that we address it correctly.
I mean, you mentioned the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister famously wrote in one of his columns, and he referred to Muslim women who wear the niqab, described them as bank robbers and being akin to letterboxes. That's pretty disgusting. In 2005, in a Spectator column, he wrote, to any, and I'm quoting what he's written, is, to any non-Muslim reader of the Quran, Islamophobia, fear of Islam, seems a natural reaction, and indeed exactly what the text is intended to provoke. He went on to say, judged purely on its scripture, to say nothing of what is preached in the mosques, it is the most viciously sectarian of all religion in its heartlessness towards unbelievers. Islam is the problem. I mean, pretty vile things to say from the Prime Minister. How on earth can all the almost 3 million Muslims in this country have any sort of confidence in Boris Johnson to deal with Islamophobia when he's coming out with such poison, which wouldn't be amiss coming from someone like Tommy Robinson? I mean, what do you have to say? Do you agree with those sentiments, or did you condemn them?
I absolutely condemn them. I think that Boris made a mistake, as normal people do. They make mistakes. I don't think that is the correct attitude towards Islam at all. But one thing I do know, when you come from a journalistic background, sometimes things are exaggerated in order to, sell news stories and sell newspapers. And this is not one of the ways to do that, because it's highly offensive to the Muslim community. I'm not saying that it isn't. But this is accepted as a mistake of Boris, and he has apologised for it. And it is unfortunately just one of those things. It's a mistake.
Okay, one of you.
But because Theresa May, she told Boris Johnson, "You're supposed to say sorry," but he did not accept it. Even he went in a different platforms, and the people, they raised their voice and they're saying that you're supposed to say apologize, but he did not accept it. He did not say sorry.
Okay.
And as a Prime Minister, he shouldn't do that.
You said something in your opening, Humera, about children being taught in schools about LGBT rights and RSC. You didn't have an opportunity then, but maybe what's your position on that? Because I mean, I mean, are you in favour of it? Are you opposed to it? What did you mean in your opening when you referred to that?
Oh, yeah. Actually, LGBT, I'm not against of that group. First of all, I need to clear it because most of the people, they're very scared to talk about it. I don't know why. Because if they have a democratic right, they pass the bill, okay, that's fine. But I raise this question, I have an issue, I have objection that why they are imposing their norm and value upon our children.
Who's imposing what?
Because they're making a part of the educations.
Right.
LGBT and SRE, sex educations, they're making a part of the curriculum because it wasn't a part of the curriculum before. Yeah, but this is a temporary, this year is a optional, and the next year in 2020 it will be obligatory. And then I'm really, really upset about it.
Well, why are you upset about being taught about equality?
Because that this is a premature age. This is not a right age to teach them. This is the age to play with the game, with the color, learn academic stuff, see cartoon, see program.
So what age?
Listen, but the thing is that if you're teaching them this type of education in a small age, what impact will be on their brain? Psychologically, biologically, this is not good for the children. And also, majority people, they don't like it. If you see the Birmingham, the people, they did protest.
I'm going to have to come in there, Humera, because you can't have it both ways. You can't say that, you pull Sara up, some may say quite fairly, when her party said some fairly bigoted things. But you can't espouse the same sort of rhetoric towards gay people and whether they agree the LGBT community, because people who are listening who are from that community will feel that you're doing exactly what you're criticizing the Conservative Party doing, is in attacking them and their
okay. As I earlier told that I'm not against of them. I'm not against of them. What I'm saying again and again and again in my agenda is a part of. I'm pretty sure what I'm saying it. I'm not against of them. Their bill has passed. It's okay. It's fine. Let them to do. But the thing is that 5 age.
Can I ask you a similar question?
5 is what is the age?
Can I ask you this question?
Yeah.
It's common for young children to go on school trips to synagogues, to churches, to mosques, and there have been instances where people who don't particularly like Muslims or Islam have asked for their children not to be taken to the mosque and to be taken out. How would you feel if someone said that we don't want our children going to the mosques because we believe that Muslims are extremists and we don't want our children exposed to that environment?
I'm not talking about the religions. I'm just saying that.
No, I know you're not, but I'm asking you a question. The question I'm asking you is, how would you feel if one family decided, because you don't want your children to be taught about LGBT rights, but in a similar fashion, a family didn't want their children to go to the mosque or learn about Islam when they're doing religious education? How would you feel about that as a Muslim? Would you be upset? Would you be indifferent? Or would you not care?
What do you mean? I couldn't understand. What is related to the LGBT study and this? And this is LGBT study. Is what they are teaching? They are not developing their personality. What they are they developing?
They're creating awareness of a very important issue.
Yeah, you're right. If they are creating awareness, then they need to be make it optional if they really want it. If the parents and the children they need it, they're going to be asked for it. But if you make a part of the education, it's not good, because we are living in a democratic society, and many people, because I talk with the different communities people, Sikh brethren, Hindu, Muslim, even English people, they don't like it. They don't want their children to learn this education at this age. It's not I'm just saying that they shouldn't be give the awareness. We need to be give the awareness what is happening around our world.
Right.
But the thing is that
I need to say something.
But the thing is that this is not a right age. If anything is a premature, just like a premature baby, premature business, premature education is not give the benefit. Similar like premature education, premature age. What they're going to? This is the learning to learn lots of things. There's a plenty of things to learn. that it is not obligatory, because many people, why I come, because I wanted to become their voice. This is not my personal opinion.
Okay. So,
many people, they are against it.
Before I come to you in a second, Sara, what age would you deem appropriate to be taught about sex education or LGBT rights? What age?
Supposed to be after 10.
10 and
but I'm saying that, but the thing is that I'm saying that to not even make it obligatory.
Okay.
Because in this education, what they
that's
saying,
fine. I have to
go.
I'm going to go to Sara. You wanted to come in. What did you want to come in on?
I just wanted to say basically that imposing, that's the wrong word to use when you talk about LGBT rights. It's not an imposing topic. You know, young kids are taught about history, and that's considered a topic that explores a lot about rights, the rights of the people, the rights of different cultures and countries. So it's you saying that you don't think that kids under a certain age...
speaking to the microphone.
Sorry. You saying that you don't think that kids should learn about sex education and LGBT rights is just as powerful as saying kids should not learn about history, because these two things are both as important as each other. Why are we outweighing one from the other? What's the reason for that? They're both things that apply to everyone and should be taught to everyone.
Okay, let her come back on that.
Okay, that's fine. But if you're talking about the sex education in the still we need to be teach, because in our time it was, you know, that it was taught in a primary school in year 5 or in a 6. Now they're teaching in a reception, where the child don't know anything. Even he doesn't know how to clean himself.
Can I ask you this question quite candidly? Is your opposition simply to the age at which they're being taught, or the fact that they're being taught it at all?
Yes. Because of the age, I'm saying that. And because they're saying, you shouldn't be making it obligatory. I told you, I'm not against of them, because they have a democratic right. So similar, we have a democratic, we need to be objected if they are saying we need to be, education need to be taught them. So, because I'm considered of the age, they are so young.
So if they were 10, as you say, would it be okay for you at that stage,
but
if it was compulsory?
It is depend of the parents and the children. If they want it, they take it. If they don't,
Even at 10,
I have to disagree with that.
Even at 10 years old, you would say that you still want it optional.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine, because I don't know the people, how the way they're acting. According to me, is my personal opinion is what the society they wanted. If 10 years is okay, that obligatory, it's fine, but not these ages.
Okay.
I'm strongly objected. I told you, it's not only me, because many people, I told you, all the ethnic group, black people, English people, Hindu, Muslim, all of them, they don't want it, because I talked to them, they're saying that. That's why I'm becoming their voice. I want to be address this issue in a parliament. I just say that, okay, just like I'm going to give you the one of the example in a Birmingham. Round about 80% they were a Christian, they protested it, they said we don't want to make this education as a part of the curriculum, because their children, they did not send their children for whole 1 week, and they got successful, and they say okay, the teacher, everyone, they said okay, that's fine, we are not making a part of the curriculum. So similar here, people, Newham Borough constituency people, they don't like it, they don't want it. It's not just like Muslims, everyone.
But isn't the idea that you're saying that people don't like it just a disguise for homophobia? A convenient way to disguise your homophobia? You don't like gay people, but you know that...
No,
I'm not saying you, but people that are of a similar persuasion to you, they don't like people who are homosexual. They know it's no longer acceptable to say that so blatantly in public, and therefore they couch their language with objections in terms of age appropriateness, in terms of opting in and opting out. Isn't the reality, I mean, you can disagree or agree with me, but the reality, is it not, that this is just another way of disguising people's deep-held dislike for homosexual people?
Could I just chip in really quickly?
Yeah, sure.
So at the beginning of this conversation, you said that children should not have LGBT rights and sex education imposed on them. Imposing is a very strong word. You should have used the word education if you were talking about you are fine with kids being taught about it just above the age of 10. So it concerns me as to where your position is, and maybe you could talk more about it, whether, I don't know, use the wrong word or not, but imposing something means that you're saying that it's something that shouldn't be done, or something that you're forcing rather than education.
But why I'm saying imposing is that age. Is that age I'm saying. That age is so young. We never ever seen it in our whole life.
So what happens if a kid under 10, you have school school pickups. Let me give you a situation. You have school pickups, right? All the parents gather to pick up the kids from primary school. Okay, and you've got one of the kids, say, under the age of 10, where you wouldn't like LGBT rights or sex education to be taught. And one of the kids has 2 parents that are gay, or 2 parents that are transgender. How are the other kids going to understand that? And how is it going to affect that child? Do you see what I mean?
Yes,
they're at that age where they're conscious and they can understand and see things. So don't you think that it would be only the right thing that kids are more aware about it, because our society is becoming more open, and LGBT, the community is growing, and people don't feel so ashamed as they were, say, 50 years ago or 20 years ago to come out and be accepted by society. We know that was a problem historically, but now they feel empowered, and so it has to be accepted by all communities, whether you believe in it or not.
No,
using the word imposing is saying that
you're saying that again and again. I tell that I am not against of them. I'm not against. Okay. I'm repeating it again and again. I'm not against of that. But I am worried about my children.
Sure. Yeah? And you have every right to be concerned. And you have every right to be concerned about your children. And Sarah, I'm going to come back to what we started off with. The Muslim community.
Because I need to be completed, because if they want to be, even they need to be tell them 7, 8, whatever the age is, they need to be, tell them briefly what is this, but they are telling in a detail, in a reception, even in the reception, if when the child is 7, tell them, this is group exist, we need to respect them, this is this like that. But if you go very detailed, just like modesty is showing, is visible, this type of a thing is not good.
Okay, sure. Sarah, I mean, clearly you understand the anxieties of the LGBT community, because you talked about how they've been empowered to come out in recent times. Do you actually understand the anxiety of the Muslim community when it comes to your party?
Absolutely. Please sort of expand your
because
question.
The Muslim Council of Britain has said that there's denial in your party, that you're not taking it seriously.
Completely untrue.
Sorry?
Completely untrue.
But then, exactly, you're not accepting the anxieties of the Muslim community. This is an organisation that...
No, I'm saying... Sorry. Apologies if that came across wrongly. I didn't...
Sure. No.
I didn't say completely untrue that there's not anxiety. I'm saying that it's completely untrue that we are seen to as not accepting Islamophobia within the party, or Islamophobia,
so can I ask,
the existence of it as general.
So
that's not
can
true.
I ask
we
why...
do know it exists. We do know how impactful it is on the Muslim community. For goodness sake, half my family is the Muslim community.
I appreciate that. So then why have you not got rid of Carl McCartney, who was a former MP from 2010 until 2017, where he lost his seat, and is now currently your candidate in Lincoln, who's repeatedly retweeted Tommy Robinson and people like Katie Hopkins? Why is he still your candidate if you accept the anxieties of the Muslim community?
In all honesty, I think that it's unacceptable, completely unacceptable.
He shouldn't be your candidate. Would you accept that?
Yeah.
We have to go for a short break. I'm sure we'll carry on the discussion. Listeners, you're listening to another Hustings. It's quite a lively debate, I must say, with both parties giving extremely compelling arguments to defend their positions, and kudos and credit to both of them. We will be right back after the news break, just after the hour. Keep listening, keep tuned. This is Revive FM on 94.0. Thank you.
If you're looking for a unique bespoke cake made especially for your big day, then look no further. Here at Sugar Sprinkle Cakery, we design some of the most imaginative and delicious home-baked cakes for your special occasions. We do fresh cream, buttercream, eggless and vegan cakes. Check us out on Instagram or Facebook. at Sugar Sprinkle Cakery or just call 07932 665 833. That's 07932 665 833.
This is Aisha. Her father died in an accident at a very young age. She lives with her mother and siblings. There are millions like Aisha who do not have access to the very basics of life, resulting in her and many others not being able to attend school. Through Minhaj Welfare Foundation, your charity is dedicated towards supporting the full needs of orphans and needy children around the world. Donate today.
Call us now, 0300 30 30 777, or visit us on minhajwelfare.org.
MR Accountants provide a full range of accountancy and taxation services, including annual and management accounts, self-assessment, tax returns, VAT, bookkeeping and payroll services to all different types of businesses. With our in-house chartered accountants, you can be guaranteed to save money. Contact us now on 0203 432 9138.
With over 40 years experience in the industry, Plastic Carpets is the place to go for all of your carpets, laminates, linos and wood flooring. We have an established network of suppliers, which means we can offer some of the best prices in town. We offer free estimates and now even free fitting. Call us now on 0208 472 8568 or visit us at 157 to 159 Plastic Road, Upton Park, London E13 0QZ.
Here at Duncan Lewis Solicitors, we specialise in immigration and family law. We have a proven track record of successful applicants who we've helped secure permanent residency for. From spouse visas to seeking asylum, our expert advisors will assist you throughout the whole application process. We offer a free no obligation consultation, so call us now on 0208 432 3350. That's 0208 432 3350, or visit us at 298 Romford Road, London E79HD.
This is
Revive FM
94.0 with the latest news from around the world.
From the Sky News Center at 6, the U.S. Democrat-led House of Representatives could vote to kick Donald Trump out of office before Christmas. The impeachment process has moved on to the next stage, which will also see the Republican-led Senate have a say. It refers to allegations the president asked Ukraine to help him win next year's election, which he denies. The speaker is Nancy Pelosi.
Our democracy is what is at stake. The president leaves us no choice but to act, because he is trying to corrupt once again the election for his own benefit. The president has engaged in abuse of power, undermining our national security.
The U.S. government has offered its largest ever award for information relating to a cybercrime suspect of $5 million. Maxim Yukavitz is the alleged leader of the hacking group Evil Core. He's accused of working with Russian intelligence to steal classified documents and stealing millions from UK bank accounts. Brian Benchowski is the Department of Justice's Assistant Attorney General.
Yakovets is a true 21st century criminal who, with the stroke of a key and the click of a mouse, committed cyber crimes across the globe. He's earned his place on the FBI's list of the world's most wanted cyber criminals.
3 Brexit Party MEPs have quit to back the Conservatives' Brexit message. Nigel Farage accused the representatives of having personal links with the Tories. Detectives investigating the murder of a 12-year-old boy outside a school in Essex say there's no link between another incident nearby. A car mounted the pavement shortly before Harley Watson was struck down. Facebook says it's talking to experts about safety measures before it launches end-to-end encryption on its messaging services. The NSPCC is worried the extra secrecy will make it harder to catch child abusers. And women may only need to take a contraceptive pill once a month in future. Human trials aren't expected for another few years, though. That's the latest. I'm Anna Bates.
This is Revive FM 94.0.
Reviving communities.
The views expressed on this program do not necessarily represent those of Revive FM or its management.
Hello and welcome back. You're listening to another edition of the Drive Time General Election in Hustings. This evening we've got the two of the candidates for the West Ham constituency here in East London. The Conservative candidate is here, Sara Kumar, and also the Communities United candidate Humera Kamran is also in the studio. We were having quite a lively discussion just before the hourly news break, and we'll continue in much the same vein. We'll move on to another topic. I'm going to open it up to you guys to tell me that if you're elected, what can the people of West Ham expect to see you deliver for them? I'll start with you, Humera, first.
If I get selected
So
then?
so if you're the Member of Parliament for West Ham on the Friday the 13th, next Friday, what will you deliver for the people of West Ham? What will be your key priority agendas in terms of delivering for the people of West Ham?
Oh, yeah. My first priority about, I told you about the education and, knife crime, alcohol and drug is being used abundantly in this borough. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to get rid of this because most of the people, they keep on saying that politicians, they're promising, everybody saying knife crime need to be stopped. But the thing is that it's not happening. Instead of decreasing, it is increasing. Even 1.5 million pound central government allocate to the local government to improve further safety and security of the residential of borough. But I'm hesitant to admit that they use this budget properly because states indicate that knife crime has increased and this 1.4 million budget is not making any difference in this borough. I'm gonna be moved ahead. I'm gonna be said that how can we prevent knife crime? There is a many reasons. We need to be hire more police, and we need to be, neighborhood police team need to be appointed in every ward, every constituency. So they're gonna be see any suspicions who is involved with suspicions involved in activities. They're gonna be dealt before it happened. And I also, if I come in a position, then I will be reopen more youth club, which has been nowhere. Around about 190,000 youth club has been closed. I need to be opening so that our generation, they're gonna be use their energy and their time in a positive activities, and because it seems like they are living in a complex and toxic environment. They don't know what to do it. Okay. One thing. And the second thing is that
I'm going to stop you there for now because your time's up. You will have an opportunity to carry.
It hasn't finished it.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Sara and then I will come back to you.
Okay, all right.
Sara, what will you do for the people of West Ham? What will the Conservative Party deliver on the 13th of December?
Sure, so I'm going to talk on a really local voice level first, then I'll speak more nationally afterwards. If I was to be elected as the MP for West Ham, I would be championing local businesses. As a small business owner myself, I know how difficult it is to start up. And I think we need to encourage small businesses to grow. And I know the Conservative Party have many pledges, which I will go into, to support those businesses. Another one is improving transport links. I know that in West Ham, as I said before at the beginning of this show, that bus transport links in the DLR are a nightmare. Especially during commuting time. So that's something I would like to work on with the Mayor of London. The third thing is affordable housing. We have a lot of young professionals, families that are growing, and we need to ensure that people actually are able to own their homes rather than always renting them. I think that's really, really important. We do also need to address the violent crime issue in West Ham. I have spoken to countless parents and brothers and sisters that are very, very concerned about the increase in antisocial behaviour, knife crime, and violent sort of gang crime as well. I actually spoke to some parents who lost their son to gang crime. I spoke to someone's brother who had lost his brother to knife crime. And again, I'll go into more detail as how the Conservative Party can help. But these are the local issues that I want to champion and that I absolutely will.
Humera, you decided to stand as a candidate in West Ham because you clearly saw that there were things that you weren't happy with. What would you put that down to? What's been the reason for the decline, as you see it, in your local area, and what's made you want to stand as a candidate? What do you think the root causes are?
Yeah, the root cause is of the knife crime, and mostly people they're saying it, politicians they're saying it, but they don't know. Knife crime will be only decreased when we tackle the alcohol and drug, because our generation, when they're using too much, because here it's used abundantly. This is the only borough where alcohol and drug is being used abundantly. And
when you say abundantly, how do you measure it?
Because the statistic is there. If you check on the internet, you will.
What are the statistics?
If you type it, how is the high ratio is the drug and alcohol, it will give you the information about it. One thing, and the second thing is
but you're the candidate. You should know this, shouldn't you?
Yeah, I check it. That's why I'm telling to you. You can, if I type it right now, it's going to be come up. I'm going to be telling you. Is the statistic is telling, and yes, and also if you check the news, time, whatever it is, then you can you're going to get this information from there too. There's a plenty of resources you can get the information, and you will be agree with me. It's not just like I'm making it up. You check it. With the different sources, you're going to get that. You're going to be find what I'm saying it. One thing is, and the root cause is of the knife crime is mostly, there's a plenty of reason, but I believe that if you over tackle of the alcohol and drug, because people, they're taking it in abundantly, and what happened, their mind is not working. Yeah, they're not thinking properly. Then they use a wrong gang because they don't know what to do. Then slowly, gradually, they're addicted of it, and when they're addicted, their body required alcohol and for that they need money, because then they don't find proper financials, they don't find money, and then they involve a wrong gang. Yeah.
Drugs are obviously illegal. You can't possess or take drugs, control drugs.
What type of the drug is illegal?
Illegal. The drugs are illegal, yes.
Illegal.
They're illegal. Yeah. Would you ban alcohol? Would you make alcohol illegal as well? Or would you push for that to happen?
No, what I'm saying that because, just few pint is allowed, but not in a certain limit, they're allowed. And I think might be one of the drug is also allowed. Maybe, I am not sure, but just like it's weed. But I'm talking about the heroin, hash.
These are illegal drugs. These are controlled drugs.
Yeah.
They're illegal.
Illegal, yeah. I'm talking about the illegal one. And still they are using, how they were using it, I don't know, but all the area, if you search it, because I don't know, that's why I'm saying that we are focusing about the national and international issues, where our domestic issues is a grave, and the condition is very bad. And with this, our youngster, they don't even do study after the GCSE. They are depressed. They are frustrated. There are many things because of the politicians and their policy make the environment toxic and complex. And top of that, because of the lack of funding, lack of facilities, if I come in a position, then definitely I'm gonna be request. that bring the funding, we need funding, reopen the youngsters youth club, and tackle the alcohol and drug with a good strategy.
So you've heard Humera talk about issues, and I think she might have hit the nail on the head in terms of lack of funding that she puts it down to in terms of the causes of these issues. Quite a graphic picture that she describes. You've been in power for 10 years now. Why have things, as Humera sets out, regressed over 10 years in places like West Ham?
Okay, so London is, firstly actually, before I say that, the Conservative Party have pledged to invest £500 million in a youth investment fund, which also includes investing in youth centres and regenerating them. So this is obviously a recognition that we have a problem and that we need to invest money in it. They've also got a youth endowment fund, which is a 10-year scheme that looks at preventative cares, looks at signs such as looking at kids in school, making sure that they don't get, before they get to the age of being dragged into crime, that they are taken out by sort of looking at red signals, for example. So I'm very, very happy to say that that's something that will be implemented should we win on the 12th of December. So talking about funds, we have acknowledged it as a party, and we are progressing to sort of improve these issues.
I mean, some of our listeners, what they'll be thinking is that these are quite promising proposals that you're putting forward.
Yeah.
But they'll be scratching their head thinking, you've had 10 years to put forward these proposals. Humera has spoke about how youth centres have been closed. If you didn't close those youth centres in the first place, there would be no need for you to reopen them now. And some of the problems that Humera has described, they might not have been exacerbated in the way that they are today. I mean, isn't it a failure of your government for the last 10 years?
No, it's not a failure of our government. I think that governments understand from, I wouldn't even say mistakes. I think that, there are certain priorities, and the way that sort of allocation of money is sometimes difficult as a government, and sometimes cuts have to be made. I'm not saying that I totally agree with cutting youth centres and their funding, because I know how detrimental that has been to some communities, especially in Ladbroke Grove and West Kensington. I know that there are a lot of youth centres there, and I know people that worked there. But let me talk to you a little bit more about London as a city that's controlled by Sadiq Khan. Now, I am a chair on a Safer Neighbourhood Board, and I have been for nearly 5 years. And if you don't know already, each borough is given a certain allocation of money from the Mayor's Office of Police and Crime, MOPAC, and the one that I work with was given £37,000. Now, what we do with that money as a voluntary organisation within the council is that you find people in the community that need projects funding. Now, I've worked with projects that work to reduce knife crime, ones that protect women who have suffered from domestic abuse, young people, preventing them from getting in crime so that they build bikes after school instead of going and lingering around before their parents get at home. These are amazing initiatives that the community have come together and have been funded by by an outer source. And I think that it's important that we support these local initiatives, and the government has by no means cut those projects from happening. In fact, they're thriving. And these are one of many ways where we can learn from initiatives like this, and the government can learn from initiatives like this, and have learned from things like this, that there are preventative methods and helpful methods of helping those that are marginalised and those issues that we're concerned about.
Humera, would extra police officers on the streets make a difference to some of the issues that you're seeing and wanting to eradicate?
They can be put an important role, but definitely, because we have less police, we need to hire more police. Just like according to my study, there was more police, now is less police, and youth club and the drug, alcohol. Actually, we have to be work together. We need to be police, government, and politicians and community. We need all of them. We need to be work together because we need to be tackle this. because this borough, why this borough is so deprived? Because of this reason, I'm standing up. I want to be raising the people's problems. If we because development, this is not a prosperative borough. There is a lots of negative thing. When you eradicate the negative thing, then we come in a positive side and then you move ahead. But already it is consists of lots of negative things.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question quickly. It's a similar one, we'll just carry on. But the question is that, okay, we've had 10 years almost of austerity, but now the main political parties are saying that our public services need investment. Was austerity, was it worth it, and was it the right thing to do? And is austerity over now? Sara, is it over, and was it worth it?
I think we're making a lot of initiatives as a party to deal with austerity, and I think that it's moving to a phase where it is over. Where it is over, I mean, we've been making a lot of public policies that are helping make our economy thrive, and that, in fact, our growth is forecast to be faster than Japan, Italy, Germany. And that's a great thing. I mean, we're ending low pay, we're increasing the national wage to £10.50. We're backing businesses, which means lower taxes for them.
Well, the £10 national minimum wage is an ambition over 5 years, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah, and you could have done it any time in the last 10 years if you wanted to.
Well, I think now was the time we could make it possible. You see, and I'll make the point of leaving the European Union when we have more funds to invest in our public services now by leaving the European Union. And I will go back to businesses, because cutting taxes for backing businesses therefore creates higher paying jobs, right? And those higher paying jobs help fund our public services, and so people have a brighter future. I mean, it's all about getting people back to work. I work with a think tank that primes on social justice, and one of the key things we focus on is making sure that work and welfare are a very important focus of people's lives. I mean, it's one of the things that gets people out of poverty. I'm not saying it's the only thing that gets people out of poverty, but it's one of the things. Another one is education. Good education gets people out of poverty. Controlling addiction gets people out of poverty. It's a combination of these things. I'm not saying one of them are the only things that make someone a victim of poverty or puts them in the category of someone who's sort of less advantaged.
Austerity, was it worth it in the last 10 years? Was it the right thing to do for the Conservative government, the Lib Dem coalition in 2010?
Austerity.
You'll have to move closer to the microphone.
Oh, sorry. Austerity is creating a very what they call is intense for the society that I don't know how to say it, because they're applying a loss of budget. They cut loss of budget, and they're putting a loss of burden on the people in the form of different taxes, and so these type of things is create austerity among the society. So it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
But I mean, under Tory government, we're seeing a much more growing economy then. And
well, we narrowly missed a recession, didn't we, in the last quarter?
We didn't go through a recession.
Yes.
You say that we narrowly missed one.
Last quarter.
Yeah.
But we went through a recession in 2007, 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean
that was Labour's recession, and then we had to deal with it.
Well, it was a national global crisis, wasn't it? It was brought on by subprime mortgages in America, banks like Lehman Brothers collapsing, which had a knock-on effect across the world. So, I mean, I think if there was a Labour candidate, they'd probably disagree with you. But in 2010, what the Conservative Party effectively said, and which you went into that, we were borrowing beyond our means, we were living beyond our means, that we had to tackle the budget deficit because we were spending more than we were collecting in taxes, and therefore cuts had to be made. And George Osborne and David Cameron set themselves a target by 2015 to eliminate the budget deficit. they failed in 2015. We still have a budget deficit. We don't yet have a budget surplus despite all the cuts. We were told that we had to live within our means, or our AAA credit rating was going to be downgraded by the credit rating agencies. And in 2010, our national debt, not our budget deficit, but our national debt was 1.3 trillion. It stands at 1.8 trillion today. It's almost doubled in the last 10 years. So despite austerity, which we were told that was the way out of living beyond our means, it's objectively speaking, it hasn't worked, has it? Because our debt has simply increased further.
I mean, but we're still reducing the deficit.
But we haven't reduced it yet.
But we are reducing it. That's the whole point. We are reducing it. And I just want to make a point that if a Labour candidate was here, Jeremy Corbyn pledges to spend 3 times more than we would.
Yeah, for every £1 you're planning to spend, the Labour Party is spending £28, I think it is. Yeah. And the IFS, and in fairness, the IFS have said
exactly
that what they're saying that they'll recover in terms of taxation to fund their spending doesn't add up. So I mean, what sort of funding, Humera, would you be pushing the central government for if you are elected?
For what project?
Yes, what sorts of funding would you be pushing the local government, the central government for West Ham?
Especially, I told you, my most concern about I'm going to be pushed that they could give us funding for to control the alcohol and drug.
Well, I just want to, when you say control alcohol, what do you mean by controlling alcohol?
Because, they are using abundantly.
Who's they?
The youngster.
Okay.
Youngster and other people is because this is very poor deprived part of the people. They don't have a knowledge when they financially they are struggling, and the environment of the home. This is also effect of them. So they have a less knowledge. All the thing is on top of that. The politician and their policy, they make this whole the environment very austerity. So if we're going to be request to the central government, they give the funding to the local government for to control. First of all, we need to do anything. If we need to be developed and progressive, we need to get rid of the negativity. So these are the negativity, and also business rates is very, very high, and the people they can't afford it. Just like I'm going to be request to the parliament that we need to be impose the business rate.
They already have.
They
already have.
According to the feasibility of the business.
So what would you reduce the business rates to?
No, different business have a different feasibility. If you see that their expenditure, their income, their rent, we see it, how much they earn it, then we need to be imposed. It's not just like we have to be deal every person in the same level. No, we can't, because some people they earn it properly, and some people they have a benefit, and some people they don't have it. So
sorry,
we see that what is the feasibility of the businesses. Then we need to be imposed.
In terms of business rates, in April of next year, there was a plan to reduce business rates further from 19% to either 17 or 18%. But Boris Johnson has said that that's not going to now happen. The business rates will remain, corporation tax will remain at 19%, because by reducing it further, you lose out on £6 billion. Isn't there, when people who are less off are being asked, when we're cutting youth centres, when food bank usage has gone up by 200%, where there are people quite literally living in shop doorways, isn't there an argument to be made that those who can afford to pay a little more? Because historically, our business rates and our corporation tax rates are lowest in Europe. Even in places like Germany, it's 28 or 29%. Isn't there some benefit to raising that even slightly, to raise more? If that 1% earns 6 billion, increasing it by a few more percent might earn some more. So we don't have to make some of the drastic cuts that Humera is talking about. Isn't that a positive step to take?
I can completely understand the perspective you're coming from, but actually reducing corporation taxes and business rates, what happens is you're investing in businesses and they are paying taxes that help fund our public services, but their profits are so beneficial to society because they're getting people into work, and they're the reason why we can increase the national living wage. And I think investing in businesses make the economy stronger, which therefore is going to benefit the country and benefit those people that are less disadvantaged. The stronger our economy is, the better off people are. The less people that are on the streets, the less people are going to be using food banks. That's my answer.
Okay, now that brings us almost to the end, so it's time for closing statements. We'll start with you, Humera, first. Again, one last chance for why the people of West Ham should elect you as their Member of Parliament on Thursday next week.
Because I believe that believe it, there is a plenty of issues, and I very closely to see it, what the issue is, because politicians, just like Labour Party, he is in charge over 25 years in this power, but they are not addressing the issues. First, just like homelessness is increasing too, they are not paying attention. People are suffering so much regarding all the issues. Either as a business, parking, homelessness, and knife crime, and the other many other issues. But the thing is that the politicians, when they are selected, they need to be work for the community, and it's not just like some politicians, when they selected it, then they get the wage for the government, and along with that they run their own business too. When we selected, we need to be devote our whole the time to the community. So when I'm going to be elected, definitely, how the way I see very deeply, I ponder over it deeply, the issue of our West Ham constituency. So definitely I devoted my whole the time to address their issues. And then I are going to be eradicate all the negativity, and then are going to be give the awareness to them about all the things about the education. And you see another issue is tuition fees. Tuition fees is very high.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you there because you're out of time. Sara, same for you.
I'd say that there are two choices in this election: voting Conservative and Labour. Jeremy Corbyn has said himself that his manifesto is the most radical manifesto that has ever been created in the Labour Party, and he's admitted that himself. Now, in that manifesto, and I'm speaking just about the two parties because it is a two-man race, okay? It is the most radical manifesto in terms of there are just these, as if there's this position that we just have this magic money tree, and we simply don't. And every single point that Jeremy Corbyn makes in his manifesto, they are drastic ideas. And if we want to move towards Marxism, then vote Labour. If we want to move towards a stronger economy, if we want to move towards a more safer environment to live in, if we want to move towards getting Brexit done, no more delay, improving our public services, making sure that people who are sufferers of poverty are taken care of, then you have to vote Conservative. And so by voting Conservative in West Ham, you're ensuring that you have a person like me that will voice everything, all the issues in West Ham, on the green benches, in a majority government. Thank you.
Thank you to both of you. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. You've been listening to another edition, our penultimate hustings of this general election campaign, winter election campaign in 2019. Today we had the honour of having two candidates for the West Ham constituency, Humera Kamran for the Communities United Party and Sara Kumar of the Conservative Party, both of whom are vying to be the next elected Member of Parliament for West Ham. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you live in West Ham, I hope you found it informative and are better placed, are more informed about the decision that you have to make. And I'm going to end with a message that I've ended some of the other shows, that whether you agree with the two ladies that we've had in the studio, or agree with them or disagree with them, it's your judgment. It's for you to exercise your democratic right next Thursday, because the most important thing is that you go and you vote next Thursday, and you don't give up that opportunity that you have in playing a vital role in which is what is dubbed to be an extremely important election, probably the most important election this side of the Second World War. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and listening to another edition. Our last and final hustings is tomorrow. It's not from the studio, but it will be broadcast on the 94.0 FM frequency. It's live from Chingford and Wood Green constituency at the Heathcote School and Science College at 96 Normanton Park, London, E46ES. All the three candidates vying to be the next Member of Parliament have confirmed and are going to be in attendance. Ian Duncan Smith, the incumbent, is scheduled and confirmed as an attendee. So is Faiza Shaheen of the Labour Party and Jeff Seif of the Liberal Democrats. If you want to be in the live studio audience, you can register for the event on Eventbrite. The link to the Eventbrite page is on our website www.revivefm.co.uk and through our Facebook page and our Twitter pages. If you can't be there, fear not, because we will, as I say, be broadcasting live on the radio. And if you don't have access to a radio, we still have you covered, because you can watch the proceedings live broadcast on our Facebook page and on YouTube. So until tomorrow evening, thank you for listening and do stay tuned in. Thank you very much. This is Vakas Hussain, and I will be with you again tomorrow from Chingford and Wood Green. Once again, ladies, thank you for giving up your time and being here today.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure to have you both. Thank you.
MR Accountants provide a full range of accountancy and taxation services, including annual and management accounts, self-assessment, tax returns, VAT, bookkeeping and payroll services to all different types of businesses. With our in-house chartered accountants, you can